We are joined from Ramallah by Dr. Sabri Saidam, Deputy Secretary General of the Fatah Central Committee. Welcome to the programme. Thank you for being with us, Dr. Saidam. Now let's start with this question. What are Israel's primary motives, would you say, for launching airstrikes in Tulkarm, and how do they fit into the broader context of its military strategy?
Well, good afternoon. As you know, Israel has been fighting on different fronts with the hope that it redraws the map of the Middle East. This is what Netanyahu has been saying day in, day out. He had actually echoed the message again at the General Assembly of the UN quite recently. He is a believer that military might would bring him a change over the Middle East, a Middle East that has no Palestinian presence whatsoever. So his battle in Gaza did not go as planned. He was not able to return so-called detainees. He was not able to deport Palestinians thanks to Egyptian resilience. And he turned to Lebanon. And as the war escalates in Lebanon, his ground assault is not progressing as desired. And Lebanon is not giving in. So he turns back to the West Bank to escalate the situation, now targeting Tulkarm as a fragile entity of the Palestinian Authority, killing 18 people. The number had risen, by the way, since we are on air. It's about 20 people now that have lost their lives. So Netanyahu is fixated on the idea of redrawing the map according to his ideological plans and ideological aspirations. We will have to fight back, definitely.
And thank you for correcting that, Doctor. It's very important. Thank you for that. What are the potential consequences of this recent escalation for the West Bank?
Well, as you know, as I said, Netanyahu is adamant that he would want to see a Middle East with no single Palestinian in it. Yet this escalation of violence is going to lead us nowhere. Military might is not going to quash Palestinian presence. 76 years have stood the of the right of existence of the Palestinian people. The steadfastness of the people of Palestine was remarkable. So I no way would ever believe that Netanyahu would be successful one day. But he seems to be feeling that he has a free hand with the support of the American administration. And if anything, this is entrenching more and more hatred and creating more and more incitement. I think with such hostilities, Netanyahu, the G7, he has received endorsement from them vis-a-vis his war on Hezbollah. We, as Palestinians, we would have to push back. We would have to confront a situation that is almost a finger-biting kind of exercise. Whoever shouts first is the loser. So Netanyahu does not want in any way to give in to the pressure of the popular international community that's calling upon him to end this saga and finish this war quickly.
And Netanyahu, who seems to be at the moment enjoying quite a lot of popularity in Israel from the Israeli people, he's now fighting on several different fronts. The incursion into Lebanon was seemingly very popular, according to polling. Is there a step too far that might change public opinion within Israel?
Well, as you know, this scene, as it were, Netanyahu has been laying the seeds for quite a while. This is a culmination of almost 30 years of his political career, in which he had moved the Israeli society towards the right. It's deeply entrenched in its ideological belief that Palestinians should not be in existence here. So Netanyahu now is also armed with his colleagues Smotrich and Ben Gvir, and feels definite that he would have to redraw the map of the Middle East, as I mentioned earlier. So I don't think this in any way is going to change. There has to be a paradigm shift. There has to be a state of mind shift, rather, in Israel. That is going to take some time, but his lack of progression, lack of achievements in Lebanon is going to make certainly the society reconsider its position. That's the Israeli society. And maybe the international community would come to the rescue of the Palestinians as they see the number of fatalities increase and as they see Gaza being a dead end and the West Bank is turning into yet another Gaza. It's certainly going to send sirens of alarm in the mind and hearts of the international community. And maybe this is going to change things.
And let's talk about timing. You mentioned before that perhaps the reason why he's decided to intensify military operations in Tulkarm might be because of what's going on in Lebanon. Also, there's been a lot of talk about Israel hitting Iran, and they haven't done so yet. Talk about the timing a little bit for us, and where Tulkarm and this aggression comes in the scheme of things.
Well, I mentioned that Gaza was not progressing well. He had set two plans, one of which was not in any way successful. It had downgraded his popularity big time. He turns to Lebanon, where he believes that the Israeli society has its heart on the removal of Hezbollah. So there he was winning popularity, but he wanted to intentionally show the regional partners that Israel is competent, is capable of fighting on different fronts. So he turns back to Tulkarm, re-emphasizing his message that he is capable, that his army is ready and can hit at different targets at the same time. So this is a demonstration, or rather flexing the muscle in front of everyone, and a show of force. So I would say Netanyahu also is in a big debate with the American administration and his partners as to when and where he would hit Iran. Certainly, the American administration is concerned about the rising prices of oil, so they don't want him to hit any oil installations. And obviously, hitting any nuclear installations in Iran is going to drag the region into further conflict. So the debate continues. Netanyahu redraws attention from the front of the Lebanon, where he has not been making any ground progress that is visible, that is desirable, to Tulkarm, so that he takes the limelight rather from Lebanon down to Tulkarm. But so far, this is, as I said, is just invigorating more and more interest in the Palestinian society to push back, now that the intention of Netanyahu is quite clear to drive Palestinians out of this region.
And if we can look at the wider implications, Doctor, what do you think those are of this multi-front conflict for the long-term peace prospects for the region?
Well, the term peace has long been absent from Israeli literature. Over 5 rounds of recent elections, there was no mention of the term peace. There's no left in Israel. In fact, the left has left. What remains is a bunch of lunatics who believe that with the presence of military might they have, their technological advantage vis-a-vis the whole region can give them the power to drive out Palestinians, to redraw the map, to reconnect, or rather connect India with the Mediterranean under Israeli rule, with this land having no single Palestinian in it. So far, this plan is not working for Netanyahu and is going to definitely draw, a lot of resentment on the part of the international community and regional partners. That enough is enough. By 7th of October, we would hit a year since this whole saga had been started, and with no progress made whatsoever. So let's hope now, with the support of our regional partners, inclusive of Egypt, and the support of the popular vote around Europe and beyond, and the marches within universities, pressure would be rebuilt on Netanyahu, so that to drive him away from all these plans that have gotten us nowhere.
And you mentioned Israel's international standing and its relationships. With which countries do you think those relationships have been affected the most? Who are the biggest allies of Palestine when it comes to the international standing of Israel and what is happening right now with the latest strikes?
Well, my friend, if you look at the map of vote that took place at the General Assembly, you would realize that 95% of the world population has voted in favor of Palestine and the Palestinians. That means Netanyahu enjoys the support of a number of countries, maybe 5 or 6 countries, inclusive of America, that's not only providing arms and political cover, it's also providing the veto that has been so far sabotaging any attempt to end this war. The UK is certainly standing, sometimes appears to be sitting on the fence, but it is deep-rooted in supporting, as they call, the defense of Israel. And I would like to say through your good selves that The true friend of Israel is a friend that tells Israel that what is doing is wrong. The popularity, the existence, the security, the justice Israel is seeking is not going to be happening unless justice is served to the Palestinians. The Palestinians at large enjoy the popular vote worldwide. They enjoy the support of the regional partners headed by Egypt and Saudi Arabia and others. And they enjoy also the support of many people who are seeking and soliciting the end to this war, inclusive of progressive Jews that have been revisiting the doctrine of the Zionist movement that is getting us nowhere and is not going to get the humanity at large anywhere.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Fascinating insights. Dr. Sabri Saidam in Ramallah, thank you very much for being on the program.